on the internet.
And I feel like this is where standing up.
Oh yeah.
I mean, because like this, I mean, I'm on fire.
Yeah.
All flames.
All
Stay away
flame.
from that, and I'm just gonna say on fire.
On fire.
Hey!
Live. Hey, Dave.
Hey, Chris.
We didn't reset.
No, we didn't reset. Back for more. We're gonna finish off 93 in this episode.
We are. Super excited.
That shirt is on fire.
I'm bringing the heat this episode. I'm gonna be on fire. This is gonna be my best episode yet, possibly. I don't know.
Best episode ever.
I'm and I'm just picking up from where I left off last
That's right.
time. So
That's
it's
right.
actually pretty easy. So it's a good intro, and short intro on this one. But yeah, I'm just kind of going through my closet of shirts now, wearing the things that maybe my better half does not enjoy.
Won't let him wear out in public.
Going out with me in public wearing.
So now we're just posting it on the internet.
And I feel like this is where standing up.
Oh yeah.
I mean, because like this, I mean, I'm on fire.
Yeah.
All flames.
All
Stay away
flame.
from that, and I'm just gonna say on fire.
On fire.
But I notice when I look at the screen, it's like I see little bits and pieces, so it just looks like I got on a black shirt.
Yeah.
But I get them.
Yeah. Now that this
Fire. I
table
know.
is mounted, you can.
Perfect. I can put it up here, and everybody can enjoy.
That's right.
This shirt.
All right.
Awesome. Are we ready?
Yeah. We'll
All
hit
right.
the intro and then we'll start with 93.
See you back here in a second.
Yep. Thanks for coming.
Welcome. Hey, Dave.
Hey, Chris.
We're back for more of 1993
More of 93.
and our extended timeline version of Rated
Yep.
Gen X.
Catching all the Gen Xers up to 18.
I mean, I still haven't counted how many episodes this series has gone so far. I lost count.
I think this
This is
a
not what the whole podcast is about.
No.
This is just a very long series, but I think it's really great to set the foundation
Yes.
of
what made us who we are.
Yes.
Look
I
at some of
think
these
it's
events and
important.
go, that would mess me up. That's why we are the way we are.
That's what my therapist says. So I'm going to just jump right back in to 93. We left off with the unfortunate passing of Brandon Lee, the son of legendary actor and martial artist Bruce Lee, killed while filming the movie The Crow. So that was March 31st. April 19th, we mentioned it in the last episode that the standoff with the Branch Davidians began. This is now 51 days later, April 19th. It does end with the group setting their compound on fire, killing 76 people. And that
Watching that live on TV.
live TV.
We're watching it on CNN,
I mean,
and then all of a sudden you
it's
see
just a gun battle.
you see flames.
You see flames. You see agents
Agents
getting
running in,
shot.
right.
I mean, you literally see bullets, popping off the side of. I remember specifically, there's an agent walking up a roof, and you just see parts of the wall start to pieces fly off, and it's someone from the inside shooting out, and eventually you see him get hit, and the whole thing was just insane to be watching on live TV. I mean, but I think we'd, our especially our generation, we'd kind of been prepped because we had watched the Gulf War,
right.
and we saw a lot of images, disturbing and crazy stuff like that. So it's just interesting how media just kept getting more and more sensational of what they would put on TV.
And a little more brazen as to what
Whereas,
they would,
you go back to the generation before us, they grew up watching TV where Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz couldn't be seen in the
Same
same
bed.
bed on TV.
Right.
You know, we were
Well, but
we were
then
that.
Vietnam, a lot of the Vietnam War stuff was on. Now it wouldn't be on because they didn't have 24-hour news channels,
Right.
but they would show clips on the news of things that were happening, and
Yeah.
so that was kind of setting the stage for all this.
Yeah, it's interesting just to watch within one our generation how this has changed and unfolded. But yeah, devastating event to watch there. Go ahead.
I was going to say this next one. I read a short article about this maybe a week ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You have to fill me in. April 30th, about 11 days later, the number one women's tennis player, Monica Seles, is... Seles or Seles?
Seles.
It is Seles, okay. Seles is stabbed in the back during a break by someone in the crowd. I vaguely remember that.
I remember that because she was number one, and this article was saying that the guy that did it was like just a crazed fan of Steffi Graf, who Monica Seles had kind of dethroned as number one. And
Was
so during
angry.
a break, he came out and stabbed her in the back, and she took a 2-year hiatus from tennis and then returned to professional tennis, but never back to the level where she was.
Well, I mean, you got the physical part of that. You've been stabbed, so
Right.
you got
And
that
the
recovery.
psychological part.
But yeah, I was gonna say,
Oh.
but then the psychological piece of, being terrified anytime you've got your back turned on people would just be
Right.
Yeah, that makes total sense. Crazy. June 7th of 93, Prince changes his name to a symbol,
That couldn't be pronounced.
and everyone just said the artist formerly known as Prince.
Taff Cap.
Really?
We've mentioned that before.
If that upset him that didn't work out the way he had planned. Probably, I know we talked about it back in the pizza episode about bad marketing decisions. And
Right.
people. I wonder if that
But I just
agent
wonder
got terminated.
when people referred to him, because as an artist, you want people to play your music, you want people to buy your stuff. What do you expect them to say? Hey, did you buy the album by...
No.
Man, I'm going to the
Yeah.
concert.
Oh, really? I hope it's good.
I don't know. I don't know what the plan was. Can't ask him now. So
Nope. June 25th, Sleepless in Seattle is released in theaters. I remember that. Really good movie, too. I feel like that was really the first rom-com, romantic comedy, that I really recall.
maybe the first one that I actually thought was worth watching.
Could be. It was good, though.
Those types of movies aren't typically up my alley.
July 15th, Michael Jackson is sued for allegedly molesting a 13-year-old boy.
I remember all that.
That is
stuff.
the beginning of some problems and issues for
Dark
him.
times for him.
July 19th, Clinton's Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy for homosexuals in the military is introduced. I remember that. Remember how impactful that was to a couple of people I knew that were in the military at the time.
Well, and that phrase has carried over into so
It
many
has.
different things.
It has.
Don't ask, don't tell.
And there's so much debate. I mean,
I think
you know.
they've officially repealed that now.
They have.
I don't feel like it was that long ago.
No,
That
I
they
think
officially-
it was. I think it was pretty.
Pretty recently
It was,
that they.
it was pretty. I don't know exactly, but it's. That's a.
I'll put it up here.
That's right up there with wanting to have a debate about lots of other political stuff. But
Yeah.
August the 6th, the movie The Fugitive is released in theaters.
Oh, that's a good movie. It wasn't me. It was the one-armed man.
Who's in that?
Harrison Ford.
Okay, so
Remember
I'm
he was
thinking
the
about
he was
right
the
thing.
doctor.
I've seen it, but
He was the doctor that was
I don't know,
accused
maybe
of
it didn't
killing his
strike.
wife, but he said that it was a guy with a prosthetic
yeah, no,
arm. That
it's all resonating, but
okay.
I don't know if that one really struck with me. And I like Harrison Ford.
Oh,
Maybe he'd be the
Tommy
other
Lee
person.
Jones is the
Yep.
U.S. Marshal.
Yep. No.
Search
I
every
remember
in-house,
seeing
outhouse, doghouse. When he's looking for.
it. Tommy Lee Jones, another good
Oh
dude
yeah.
too. I feel like he's just a.
Seems like he would just roast you.
It's just but he's just pretty much who he is.
Right.
September the 6th of 93, the first mention of impending problems for Y2K is published in an article, and the world lost its mind.
Lost its mind.
But at least we had 6.5 years to prepare for it.
I mean,
and we already have a song.
right.
So
Party Like It's 1990. Speaking of Prince.
yeah.
Or.
Oh man, and man, it's a shame we're not going to get to that in the timeline.
I
but,
mean,
19.
It is ours.
This is.
At some point,
but it turned out to be very uneventful. It's like
yes, it was just kind of like, oh well.
Lots of people who didn't really have to work that night had to work that night,
right?
And nothing happened.
Do we want to tell them what? Because some of you younger viewers that weren't around may have no idea what Y2K is.
Y2K.
Okay,
go for it.
Here's a quick, I guess, explanation of what Y2K is. Computers were starting to run a lot more things, not near what they run now, but computers were starting to run a lot more things. But they only used 2 digits for the day, 2 digits for the month, 2 digits for the year. Or month, day, year. So 2 digits. And everybody was freaking out because they were like, oh, when it hits 99, it's going to roll over to 00, and the computer is going to think that means 1900. Now, how the computer would think that, they didn't think at the time, not like they do now, but they didn't think. It just rolled over to 00, like it got to the end of the numbers and it started over, is what actually happened. But everybody thought that they were going to reset and wig out, and
data would be erased, and
systems
would shut down.
Yeah, it's like the electrical grid and the water supply, like all this stuff was going to shut down, and had everybody freaked out. It's like Y2K, the year 2000 is what and ended up.
I don't recall anything happening. And maybe stuff did. I do recall that you've got to get this update or you've got to do this. So I think there were some things that, and maybe it was just
I had a computer at the time, and they recommended that you updated to the latest operating software,
system,
and back your stuff up on a floppy disk.
Good luck finding that now.
Right. 1.44 megabytes.
That's
Can you
insane.
imagine? Like, that's not even worth.
No. And then we went to the 3.5 inch for a little bit before finally going to CDs. I feel like the 3.5 inch computer disc was like cassette tapes, the shortest lived device,
Right.
in between device ever before everything went
But
to
it
disc.
still held the same amount, I believe.
Yeah, they were just more compact and
Right.
maybe durable. I don't really know why they shifted to that.
Because they can make it smaller.
I'm sure some
Because it
techie
was
probably
5 1/4
knows.
inch floppy disk,
It was pretty big.
and it was floppy.
October 3rd of that year, the U.S. military operations in Mogadishu, Somalia begins. That is the inspiration for Black Hawk Down.
Another good movie. Just like good in the sense that it just pisses you off.
You know what's interesting about that? I read the book.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, I've never seen the movie because the book bothered me so much.
The movie
That
will bother you too.
I did not want to. I did
Har-
not.
harbor ill will.
Well, I didn't want to. I didn't want to have it fully visualized. Like the book is extremely well written, and just that was visual enough to where I really didn't. Which
We'll watch it in here some night
it's
when we do our all nighter.
It's there we go. It's one of those things. I have no issue with most, because I know there's a couple of other war-related movies coming up that are exceptional. And to this day, the 2 HBO series, Band of Brothers in the Pacific, all-time favorite
Oh yeah.
things to watch. Both of them. I watched both multiple times. So I love the historical piece of things like that. But yeah, for whatever reason, I read the book first. It just bothered me, and I didn't really have the stomach. to
Watching the
wanna watch
movie
it all the time.
bothered me.
November 1st of that year, the European Union is officially announced. New currency, the euro, also announced.
I remember that being
going to be the big thing.
I remember that being a big deal, that all these countries were going to start taking the same currency.
Yeah.
And it was, of course, then people get into conspiracy theories. They're like, oh, this is the new world order. One currency is going to take over the whole world.
Yeah, it didn't really happen.
Nope. And now, Britain has backed out of it.
Yep. November 23rd, Snoop Doggy Dogg releases his album, Doggy Style.
That's how he was referred to,
Snoop Doggy Dogg. Why does Snoop Dogg always carry an umbrella?
Full drizzle.
That's right.
You didn't expect me to know that, did you?
I was hoping that you would, though. On low key, I was like, you might know this. One of my go-to dad jokes. November 30th, Bill Clinton signs the Brady Handgun Violence Prevention Act into law. We've talked about Mr. Brady there a couple of times because he is the Secret Service agent that took the bullet for Reagan.
Yep.
December the 2nd, drug lord Pablo Escobar is gunned down by police in Colombia. I thought that was more recent.
See, I did too.
What's the name of the drug lord that somebody picked up last year and brought here?
El Chapo.
Ah, that sounds like it's from a movie. Is that real?
That's what they call him.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
I'm not get into mafia bosses and drug lords. So
I'm not up to date on that. December 20th, nor do I want to be. December 20th, the first clear pics from the Hubble Space Telescope are taken after repairing an optical flaw. I think you mentioned that at the end of a couple of episodes ago when we first thought we weren't going to go into
this far
in the other years.
Yeah, we talked about the Hubble Space Telescope. They put it up there, and then it was just slightly out of focus.
So we had to fix it.
Or can you imagine spending all that money and going up there and like, I can't see nothing?
And you're just sitting there at the control panel looking around like, who's in charge of focus?
Right. And you're going, are my eyes bad? I've been staring at the screen too long? Do I need my readers?
That would be a terrible... Somebody had to just totally lose their lunch over that for about 30 seconds at least, when it's like, whose job was this? It's like, oh.
I mean...
that's so funny.
I don't even know, but they fixed it, and it's clear now, and first clear pictures in the end of 93.
So we need a little board of like the people who definitely got fired. So we've got the pizza marketing team,
right?
We've got Prince's manager, and now I think the Hubble Space Telescope optical person.
Somebody was just slightly off on a calculation.
Probably. I mean, in all fairness, they don't really know what the conditions are going to be.
It's never been done before. It's not like they had, something to look at and go, make it like this. They're just going...
The vacuum of space. Make sure that you get that correct.
Right.
They should give that person a break.
I think this will work.
So that wraps up 1993.
Yeah.
And as I pass this back over to you for 94, I'm going to take a drink of my dinner.
All right.
It may slurp a little bit. I apologize.
So, if you noticed in the last episode, he was slurping the same dinner because...
That's true. I bought another one today.
No, we've told him.
Or that was 20 minutes ago.
We film multiple episodes at once just because it's more convenient, especially coming up because we're both going to be doing a little bit of traveling.
We are.
Chris over here has, they have purchased an RV.
That has recently come into our life, yes. We're taking our first road trip.
And I'm excited because we have been RVing for several years, and we tend to do...
I literally went from
long
camping in the dirt in like a very tiny tent, obviously alone because my wife's not into that,
right?
to being in an RV. So
I mean, we camped all the time when we would go to the beach.
This is true, and I like that version of camping as well. There's a time and a place for it. I was talking
That
to
time and
someone.
place has passed for me.
I still, so far, I've still been doing it once a year. I take a trip with my son, and it is pitching a tent on the beach, and kind of the sand is nice and soft. So I haven't done it on the.
Okay.
And I don't do ground sleep anymore. I've got one of them nice little, easy blow up.
Air mattress things.
It's not an air mattress, but it's a pad.
Air pad.
So yeah, I mean, it gives you it works well.
I like just having
But I
a
like that.
nice queen bed, AC, stove, fridge, bathroom.
We did a little shakedown camp to test a couple of things out.
Oh yeah.
It was a weekend when it started raining and it got cold, and I totally appreciate sitting inside
Yeah,
drinking
it's
hot coffee. And
Nice.
unfortunately, and I don't know if any of those friends are watching this, but the happiness that filled my heart as I sat in essentially just a recliner drinking hot coffee, watching my friend crawl out of a tent, looking for a stick to push water off of a canopy so it wouldn't go back in the tent and get all their stuff wet.
Makes you appreciate.
It did. I was
Campers.
like, this was an excellent idea.
Great idea.
But anyway, 1984, off to you.
94.
That's what I said. What did I say? 84?
84.
That's okay. Edit that out.
I don't
Beep,
know
just
if I can.
beep it. People don't think I cussed anyway, so it's okay.
I will do that. If you heard a random beep, maybe he just said the wrong year. All right, January 1. NAFTA goes into effect, allowing U.S., Canada, and Mexico to trade freely. NAFTA, the North American Free Trade Agreement, allowing U.S., Canada, and Mexico to freely trade without taxes or tariffs. Everybody said there's going to be all these jobs lost to Mexico and all this kind of stuff. And we did lose some, but companies that are looking for, bottom line profits, they're going to get work done. Labor costs are going to go down, whatever. I don't know how well. Several of those have since moved back to U.S. production.
I feel like that's over the years since then evolved a lot.
There are still a lot of Ford parts made in Mexico because all our cars are Ford. So when I buy genuine Ford parts, which is not often because they're expensive, but a lot of them made in Mexico.
Yeah.
Yep. Still. So, all right, January 6th. Figure skater Nancy Kerrigan is attacked by the bodyguard of fellow skater Tanya Harding. Do you remember all that stuff? man?
Vividly remember that, and the crying.
Oh yeah,
And-
the why?
And yeah,
Not making fun of her, but like she
No.
would, like
but also like I don't want to get in trouble, but she was an ugly crier.
yes,
It was
Nancy, I love your skating.
at the time, it didn't feel real.
Right,
That's the way it came across.
It almost
to me.
felt staged.
It really did.
But
Like
then
when it first happened, and obviously, I mean, we know the truth now, but
Right.
it was and I guess that's what I'm saying. Some people when they cry, it's an ugly cry. It's
Right.
like something happens, but it's almost, it's almost like it's so dramatic that it seems like acting, and that's what that seemed like
Right.
to me.
But then it was just she was so devastated.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was a big mess. January 17th, a 6.6 magnitude earthquake in Los Angeles kills 60 people and causes over $30 billion in damage.
I do not remember that.
I don't specifically remember that either.
I mean, I remember the one from San Francisco,
During the World
a
Series,
few
yeah.
years ago, but I don't
It
remember
was
that
in
one.
89. Yeah, this is 94.
Wow.
So, I just looked at the next one.
You got this? You good?
I got it. January 21st.
You can say penis if it makes you feel better.
Lorena Bobbitt. That's all you got to say.
Moving on. February 3rd.
Lorena Bobbitt is found temporarily insane. at trial after cutting off her husband's penis.
That is another situation I never really understood. Because, he went in, he obviously got repaired. Then he went into like a life of pornography and
Right.
it just got all weird and stuff. So
Right.
I never really felt bad for anybody. I didn't know whether to feel bad for her because I don't know. I'm
I don't
not
know.
judging, not doing anything.
I don't know, nor do I want to know
Yeah, it was just a weird,
enough about the situation. But all you have to do from anybody that was alive and paying attention, you just go, Lorena Bobbitt. Everybody
We
goes,
all know.
ooh. Every guy goes, ooh.
Yep.
All right, February 3rd, Clinton lifts the ban on trade with Vietnam. Because since the Vietnam War, we'd had a ban on trade with Vietnam. So we couldn't.
So basically 20 years since the end of that war before the trade ban.
Yeah.
Wow. Was lifted.
Yeah.
It's insane.
And then kind of bringing back something from January, March 16th, Tanya Harding pleads guilty to obstruction of justice in the Nancy Kerrigan incident. So she knew about it, but claimed not to. And then she was banned from skating for life.
At least it made it where you could go back and go, okay, well, it was real. So
Right.
it wasn't Nancy, being
She wasn't being dramatic, right.
Yeah. Wow.
And I remember this because I was like, oh, man.
Man, that baseball
really?
card value just went down.
Way down. April 4th, Darryl Strawberry. One of my favorite baseball players at the time.
Yeah, same.
Begins a substance abuse treatment program. I watched I think it was a multiple part documentary with Darryl Strawberry and Dwight Gooden.
Yeah. That's the other name I was going to bring up. I was like, there
Yeah.
was a lot of white powder substance between those two.
Oh,
And it's sad because it spiraled and it
right. Now-
addiction and
now,
all that stuff.
Darryl Strawberry has worked his way out of it and is doing very well. Dwight Gooden just never got, struggling. I don't know that he's quite on the streets, but there were times where he was on the streets. Like, this dude was the best pitcher in baseball for a while. But to hear Darryl tell some of the stories about stuff that would happen between innings or,
Yeah, it's insane.
it's just, you kind of go around. What? But, all right, so that was April the 4th. I don't know if I said that date wrong, but April 19th, Rodney King is awarded $3.8 million in settlement for the L.A. police brutality case.
Which really doesn't seem like a lot of money when you think about it.
No, but now in 94,
Yeah. It just, because of everything that went on with that seems like a really...
right. But,
Low
since
number.
this was the first, case of that kind, I think they weren't sure what to do with it as
Yeah.
far as how much in damages. So I think that they tried to come up with something that was high enough to say, we mean business,
Yeah.
but not, something exorbitant to try to encourage copycats. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
People
That makes sense.
trying to get the police, because people are crazy. Somebody would have been like, well, I can get $40 million, let the police beat the crap
Right.
out of me. Yeah, I'm going to do that, So that's just me thinking out loud. I don't know that that's what happened, but April 22nd.
There's a lot of uninformed information that we pass on.
We do. But this is how my brain works. I am a classic overthinker, and that's just what goes on inside my brain. You all would be terrified to spend 5 minutes inside my brain. Trust me. All right, April 22nd, former President Richard Nixon passes away.
I vaguely recall that.
I didn't think that he lived that long until I was doing this.
Yeah, I vaguely recall it, but and that's the first. Is that the first president that's kind of made the list?
That has passed away. Other than the very beginning, we talked about the Kennedy assassination.
Right. Okay. That's
But-
Richard Nixon. Lyndon Johnson, he's already passed away by this time. Like, I'm
Uh,
wondering, like, in our lifetime, like, who was the oldest living president that was still around when we came along? I don't know.
Oh,
Sometimes
I
I
don't
think about stuff like
Yeah.
that. Like, you know.
I don't know. All right, May 6th, 2 things happen. The channel officially opens, and we talked about that.
You like
I remember
the
talking
tunnel.
about, like,
Yep.
what if they were off? You know, channel officially opens, and Nelson Mandela, who we all thought had died,
I
in
died
prison,
in prison.
wins South Africa's first post-apartheid election for president. So not only did they, abolish apartheid, they elected their first black president, which would be unheard of
Mhm.
several years prior.
Yep. That is,
Because remember the first
Yeah.
Lethal Weapon?
yeah.
Talking
That's
about
that's part
apartheid,
of, yeah.
right? And so
And I mean, you just think of that story. I mean, someone who, and I get it. It was, political imprisonment, but to go from prison to
27 years or something in prison.
running, yeah, something like that. I mean, to go from there to leading the country, and that's crazy to think about.
Right.
And channel is such a British word. I feel like,
The Channel Tunnel.
yeah, I know, but that's just weird.
What would we have called it?
Probably just a tunnel. I mean, that's not like
Freedom Tunnel.
super cool. Tunnel of America.
Right. American Tunnel. That's what we'd have called it. All right. May 12th, the movie Pulp Fiction is introduced at the Cannes Film Festival.
Good movie. I mean,
Odd.
yeah. I mean, it's one of those you got to really think.
Is that Quentin Tarantino?
It is, yeah.
And, you got to... His brain works different, too.
Yeah.
Very talented. But, like, you watch Pulp Fiction and you go,
I'll be honest, I like this next movie better.
yep. I have my own version of the little song that they sing. But June 15th,
There's more there, but
the animated movie The Lion King opens
Yeah,
in theaters.
buddy.
It brings in over $185 million the first weekend.
it's a really good movie.
It is.
I mean, I'd
Tugs at
still watch it
your
now.
heartstrings a little bit.
It does. And, you got Timon and Pumbaa characters that come out of that.
And it's a very good versus evil kind of movie,
It is. I really liked it.
My version of the song is in no way bad. Just I don't know the words.
Which song are we talking
You know
about?
Oh
yeah.
I always say Pennsylvania. I saw this one.
Because I don't know what the words actually
Right.
are.
I saw this one, and it was somebody who had taken the song and then they had overlaid people's LinkedIn names, and it was like Nancy Vania, Papa Beeb, and it was just like every time that they said a word or a phrase, they flashed up somebody's LinkedIn profile that had a name that looked like what they were saying. Oh my gosh, that was hilarious. I've saved it on my phone, and my daughter has to see it all the time. Show me the Nancy Vania.
That's cool.
So, funny. It was hard to find because it was just like a short. So it wasn't like a video on YouTube. It was just a short. So it was tough to find, but I did. June 17th.
Yeah, I remember
Oh, I know where I was.
Where were you?
I was at Witt's Barbecue working.
Okay.
We had a little, those portable TVs that you had that had the screen about this big
Yep.
with the little antenna,
Yep.
and you turn the
The
dial to
little
tune
dial
it.
on it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what we had. So because you worked, we had the stove,
Yep.
and then that wall right behind the stove, we had that TV sitting on that wall. So as I'm making barbecue sandwiches, watching the low-speed chase. All right, June 17th, O.J. Simpson's low-speed chase in the white Ford Bronco happens in L.A. for an hour and a half on live TV.
I watched the whole thing.
Every bit of it.
You know what my takeaway is from that story you just told, though?
What?
I really miss the days where I could actually work and still watch TV at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I felt like we were very productive.
Oh, super productive.
Now everybody gets all itchy if you won't even listen to music. It's like, oh, you should be focused and working. It's like, I used to be able to do two things at once.
Yeah. Well, I mean, my kids working on stuff, if they're working on something independently, a lot of times, and they're very good about asking, they're like, can I listen to music? I'm like, go for it. So, like, they're jamming, and they're still putting out a good product. It just kind of, it blocks out all the noise.
That
for
would have
them.
been golden to go through high school like that.
Well, we had Walkmans, but you couldn't.
They weren't allowed at school.
No, they weren't.
I had to put it next to my beeper before I left every morning. I didn't have a beeper.
I
I did years later for like work.
I had a beeper for a minute, but that was.
And we are the generation that created texting.
Yep.
I mean, we started on calculators,
Oh, yeah.
8008,
Upside down.
boob.
Right. 8008.
41, upside down, high.
Right.
So, yeah. And then you get that beeper, 911. We all knew what that meant.
Yeah, that means call me right now. And then you had to find a payphone.
Yes. And to clarify, not everyone with a beeper was a drug dealer. Didn't find that out 2 years later. But
I had one. I wasn't a drug dealer.
that was the thing. It's only drug dealers have beepers.
Right.
Really?
Right.
I don't feel like that's how that works, but
Nope.
okay. All right.
All right, June 27th, Aerosmith becomes the first band to allow fans to download an entire new track from the internet for free. So there's your first downloadable music in 94.
Dude, you
So
know
you
how
people
long I
think
bet that took? Listening to that dial-up connect.
Oh.
Insane.
Right.
Mm-mm.
I wonder how long it took to download an entire album.
I can't.
Don't pick up the phone.
I mean, just thinking about that makes me angry at the moment. It's like, no.
Right. Because if you were online and somebody picked up the phone, it dropped you. You had to start all over. So, you all thinking that downloading music is new. No. We did that. All right. July 6th.
Oh, this is a good movie.
Movie Forrest Gump is released in theaters. Now, that was a long movie, but it kept your attention.
Dude, soundtrack, phenomenal.
Oh, one of the best movie soundtracks.
And
Just a good story.
Good story, good movie.
Tom
Oh,
Hanks was great.
Yeah, that movie got all the accolades. I felt like it.
I'm just going to say Jenny pissed me off.
Jenny. Yeah, she did. I mean, she did him wrong.
She did him dirty.
Except for that one time.
But then she still did him dirty. She left.
But
And then when she was dying,
he's like his daddy.
right, she was dying. Wonder why she was dying.
Oh, slippery slope.
Oh, sorry. Had something in my throat.
Dave.
Just saying.
All right.
All right. But great movie.
That was the last movie that came out before I went to boot camp.
Oh, yeah?
So in boot camp, oh my gosh.
Yes, drill sergeant!
Everybody was making Forrest Gump jokes, and
I
you
bet.
hear all throughout the night people were like, "I miss home, Jenny," and all this. Oh, that was so funny.
All right, August 22nd, DNA. Ooh, DNA used to link O.J. Simpson to the murders of Nicole Brown Simpson and Ronald Goldman DNA was used. Sorry. So that's the first time that I ever remember hearing about DNA evidence.
This is true, and what that stands for is always stuck in my head, like to this day. I know exactly what that means. Do you?
Yeah.
Was that part of just like our why we learned it in school? I mean,
Yeah.
why such a long word that just sticks? Is it because it was new?
I don't know.
I mean,
I guess because you realize it's importante.
is it? I mean, DNA, yes, it's important, but is it important to know exactly what that word is?
No, I don't know.
Okay.
I've
always been confused by it. Like,
I'm sure it's Latin based and all those things mean something.
I've used it a couple times to be a butthole about, Somebody come in here and clean up this deoxyribonucleic acid. What? What is in there? It's like somebody spit on the floor. Somebody
Yep.
peed on the floor. But all right,
All right, August 28th, Tiger Woods wins the U.S. Amateur Golf Championship.
another phenom.
I remember that. Young guy won the amateurs.
Mm-hmm.
Like-
Then everybody thought they could do it.
Right.
Everybody started sending their kids to the golf course. I took my daughter to the driving range a couple of years later because Tiger Woods started when he was,
How'd she do?
2. Terrible.
Not everybody's a phenom.
She's like her dad. I'm a terrible golfer.
Well, I'm bad at golf. I enjoy playing. I don't have time to play, nor do I have the money to play, but
Same.
I'm bad.
A lot.
Bad.
I don't
at it.
mind going if someone doesn't take it seriously. If it's just to go out, enjoy being outside.
I think that you and I
hitting
could
balls.
play
We probably could.
because both of us would be like, whatever.
Yeah. I don't want to walk up there and get that ball.
I know I'm not good at it. I know I'm probably never going to be good at it. So I'm not going to sweat it going, oh, but good. Because
I still have
some things I do that about.
I still have golf balls from the driving range at that place
That place that will not be named.
because
That we
I
have
gave
lots
them
of-
to my granddad
that
and
we
he
have
used them
lots of
for
other
years.
stuff
Anytime he
from.
got near water, he'd be like, "I'm gonna use one of them balls you gave me."
that we have lots of other stuff from.
Yeah. Ooh, yep. Still got some of this. I have all my granddad's golf clubs after he passed away.
I still have some of those glasses. They're in the. They're in the. I'll show them to you when you leave. Yep.
Oh man.
right. I think I only have one or two, but
All right.
all right. September 22nd, the TV show Friends debuts on NBC
I like that show.
with
watched
Courtney
it.
Cox and Jennifer Aniston.
And
Lisa Kudrow.
Yeah.
All right.
that's good because I
I had to
forgot
access that file. So
Good show though. I did.
Yeah.
I did enjoy watching that.
yeah, but and it obviously made an impact.
10 years it was on. 9 years, something like that.
Yeah. October the 3rd, artist Gary Larson announces he will retire from drawing his The Far Side cartoons. What a great cartoon. Just one picture. There's one that I remember specifically because
that?
it's so true. It was this kid who had walked up the steps and he was going into school. And on the door it said, pull. And he's leaning up against it like this. Sorry, that was a little loud.
It was.
He was leaning up against it like this. And it said, School for the Gifted. Clearly says pull on
That-
the door.
Now that makes total sense, and I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
I remember, because you could buy like the calendars that
Yeah.
had one
Yeah,
little
yeah.
cartoon per day. How long did he do those? I wonder. I
I don't know.
feel like it
I'm
was
sure-
a really long time.
I'll tell you.
All right.
But I do this a lot. I put something in here and go, well, how long was that on? I don't know. But in editing, I'll find out. All right, November the 4th. So we got this one and one more, and we'll wrap this one up.
Yep. I was
That'll
going
be
to say
good.
this will work out really well.
All right. November the 4th of 94, the first conference focusing on the subject of the potential World Wide Web commercially, like taking the World Wide Web commercial, takes place in San Francisco. So making it a commercial thing that anybody could have access to.
I thought Al Gore did that.
Al Gore invented the internet.
I remember that being the thing.
Nope. ARPANET. Yeah, I remember that from our thing.
Mhm.
And December 7th of that year, Mariah Carey wins Billboard Top Female Artist of the Year. Well deserved. I think she was.
Yeah, there was a small period of time I thought she was really great, but it was short. Like it didn't stick. It was just too
Right.
much. Too much.
Except for that Christmas song.
Yeah, that comes back around. I feel like every
She
year.
makes so much money.
She's like
off
Prince in 1999.
Right. Right.
You make a good song that is attached to something, it pays off.
Especially if it's something that repeats, like Christmas.
Oh, yeah, and that's never going to end. So I mean, that was brilliant. You can't.
Yeah.
You got to give her that. I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah.
But I mean, power pipes definitely. I mean,
Oh yeah. And
she's
she
right
could
up
hit
there
that
with
like
Whitney Houston.
She could hit that
Yeah.
like weird high.
Yeah, that
No,
one that makes
falsetto,
you like your
makes you
neck
kinda-
tweaks and then you kind of pass out.
Like your eye blinks a little bit, just one blinks a little bit funny, and you're kind of like,
It's like maybe that's why I'm not a fan anymore. I don't want to have a stroke. Just it's like
fair. All right. All right.
Man, I know it's been 10 days for them. These haven't changed. It's still
Fuzzy.
I mean,
still soupy
still
on the
fuzzy,
bottom.
soupy. And I am seriously like, it's getting a little icky to touch. I didn't touch them last time because
When we
itching.
finally get done with the timeline, should we go to this story just so we can get rid of these?
That would probably be a wonderful idea, because at some point, I'm terrified something's gonna,
Get
'cause
in there.
Well, I'm a little clumsy, right? So I'm always concerned.
It's got some tape. Look, it's got some tape.
It
all
does,
around
but
it.
like this, if this cracks,
Oh, if that cracks, it's going to
and,
be like 3 Mile
an
Island.
organism gets out, and then all of a sudden, I don't.
Chernobyl.
It's like then we become that Chinese lab that let COVID out.
Right.
I mean, I don't want to be that. It's like
Right. All right.
we keep dipping. We keep dipping.
You asking
I'm
or
sorry,
you
honey.
reading?
I asked last time.
I know,
and
but
you-
I asked 3 in a row.
You did. I can ask, but
You got one?
we got to take a little bit more time between recordings so I can come up with a question.
Yeah.
Because I'm not good in the moment.
How about that April 4?
Daryl,
Yeah. Or January 21st.
what would the question be?
I don't know.
Then you're kind of asking the question and giving the only answer anyway.
About January 21.
Oh man, I'm committed to being clean, and I don't mean that in that way, or I don't know. I don't know what way they took it. Maybe I
Whatever
took
way
it.
you took it.
Yeah, don't
He
take it
me-
that way.
He meant it.
Man. All right, I have a question.
All right. Go for it.
Oh no, that's inappropriate too.
You can't clean it up enough?
I really can't. Man. It's
I can only imagine.
it's here's a good out of context question, right? I would like to know, how is our audience perceiving us thus far in not just this series but in our podcast
Overall? in
Yeah,
our
because
podcast?
the thing is, we don't get a lot of comments. We get a few, here and there, but I'd
And
like
it's mostly
to know,
from people we know.
It is. I'd like to know, how does our audience perceive us thus far in this journey of podcasting?
Oh my gosh. This couldn't have been more perfect.
All right.
If you were watching me closely, I just opened to the page. I started to go towards the front, but I've never had good answers towards the front.
Okay.
So I went to the back. You'll have to make it up as you go.
I like that. It gives us complete control, I feel like. And there you have it. I feel like there's like 2 people that look forward to these. It might be, maybe those 2 people are me and you. Whenever you tell me that they're uploaded, I try to immediately watch.
I watch it as soon as I upload
And
it.
I just
If for no other reason, just to make sure. Because, I'm watching it as I edit it, and then I have to back up and then play it, and then back up and play, so I have to.
Well, yeah.
And I'm
well,
over
then we
there
have
just-
to, because I mean, if we get going, and there have been things I've said, I'm like, well, I don't remember saying that. It's like, but I think obviously both of us still work, so there has to be some.
Right, and on my lunch break when I'm
attention
editing
paid.
these, I am over there just cracking up laughing by myself with my headphones on, and people that pass by are like, "You all right, coach?
What's going
Like,
on?
I'm good." If they see me with the headphones on, they know
They're like, what's in that cup?
They know now. Like, okay, he's editing.
That's good. That was a good answer. I like that.
Yeah, make it up as you
Awesome.
go.
All right, so we got through a year and a half.
Yeah,
Coming back to, we've got 3 years left. Is that right?
5, 6, 7, 8, 4.
Okay, we got 4 years left. All right, 95. And I like these years. I'm really glad we extended this because this is a
Like we're adults. So
we are, and so
we're a lot more in tune with what's
things
going on.
mean a little different. 90. I mean, we're still in like for me pre-kid. I think right around your kid, right? 4
Oh yeah,
4 or 5.
94.
94, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So now we're evolving. We're moving
Right.
into like
I
we're
am a parent now.
and before this is over, I'll be a parent. So
Yep.
yeah, this is cool. Join us next time. We'll pick back up. We'll start with 1995. That is my year to cover. So
Yep.
yours truly will be kicking us off. And yeah, like, subscribe, all that good stuff we
Yeah.
tell you to do all the time.
Yep. If you got multiple email addresses, subscribe with all of
That's
them.
right.
Nobody's gonna know.
By the time this airs, we'll have 63.
You think so?
I'm gonna lay it out there.
All right.
63.
So we had 59 when we filmed the. Actually, at
When
the
we
time
filmed
of
this.
filming, yeah, at the time of this filming, we have 59. So we're saying that by the time this comes out, which will be 23 days from
Oh, no, don't look at me. I'm not in production.
I know that's all me.
I'm talent.
Talent acquisition
Nope, just talent.
and HR. All right. Okay. Thanks for coming. We'll see y'all next time.
See you.